Everyone can agree, food is one of life's greatest pleasures. But in that great pleasure can be found some rather insidious outliers. Most food you put in your body is perfectly safe, but be warned, some dishes out there are more deadly than others. These are some of the deadliest foods in the world. The humble potato. As Samwise Gamgee once said, you can boil them, mash them, and put them in a stew, but be careful. This starchy spud could prove more harmful than delicious. This vegetable in fact carries a powerful toxin in its stems and leaves called glycocoloid, which can cause nervousness and severe stomach pain. But not many people, at least knowingly, consume these parts of the potato. The real threat is when the potato turns green. This happens when a potato is left to age for some time, and it's actually a buildup of that same poisonous chemical. If the vegetable is eaten while green, the individual can suffer from a host of issues ranging from flu-like symptoms, weakness, confusion, and ultimately falling into a coma. Death from potatoes in the United States is rare, but it never hurts to check your spuds. Often found in chili and other various recipes, kidney beans are a delicious addition to most meals. Unfortunately, if not properly cooked, the beans can release a harmful toxin known as kidney bean lectin. This toxin can cause nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and in extreme cases, death. Luckily, the beans become harmless once cooked, but be cautious of your technique. Placing the beans directly into a boiling pot can cause the toxin to re-emerge. It's best to slowly cook them on a simmer, making sure all the toxins are removed. This danger is lessened if you use canned kidney beans. They're typically pre-treated and fairly safe to eat. A delicious fruit and topping for any Sunday, cherries are enjoyed harmlessly by people from all walks of life. The flesh of a cherry is completely fine to eat. The danger comes from the fruit's seed or pit. The pit of a cherry is hard, bitter, and almost unedible, and for good reason. It actually contains a compound similar to cyanide. Now, if you swallow one or even several cherry pits on a binge of the fruit, don't throw yourself into a panic. Usually your body can absorb some of this compound harmlessly. However, this ability is drastically reduced if by chance you chew the seeds. This releases more of the cyanide from its shell. So, a good rule of thumb, don't chew and swallow the pits or seeds of fruits. Far from the pudding for which the name has been familiarized, tapioca actually comes from a starchy root native to Brazil called cassava. This root in its natural state is actually quite poisonous to the human body, containing trace amounts of cyanide that can cause crippling cyanide poisoning. The root must first be properly soaked and dried, but even then, the consumer must have a good supply of protein in their diet in order to counteract the toxic effects. This isn't such a problem in the US as it is for other countries such as Africa, which has turned to the root as a major source of calories. It's fairly well known by people nowadays, but if you go out into the forest, don't go eating mushrooms willy-nilly, as if you're something like a Bear Grylls survivalist. You'll probably get sick or worse. A number of mushroom species are considered toxic to people, but one in particular is quite deadly, the aptly named deathcap. This fungi has claimed numerous victims over the years, but why do we keep falling for its trap? Well, it's because it actually looks just like an ordinary mushroom you'd find in any restaurant. It's rather difficult to tell the difference. Needless to say, it's probably a good idea to let professionals tell you which shrooms are good for eating. Rhubarb may make for a tangy addition into one of your desserts or pies, but be careful of which part you choose to use as an ingredient. This plant produces large leaves atop a long, fleshy stalk, the stalk being the source of flavor used in dishes. The leaves of rhubarb are always removed because they're in fact very poisonous to people. The leaves contain a number of different chemical compounds which are also found in bleach, metal cleaners, and anti-rust products, so basically everything you don't want to eat. When consumed, these compounds can cause a burning sensation in the mouth and throat, vomiting, stomach pain, convulsions, and even death. Tetraodonti, or more commonly known as pufferfish, is a family of marine life which has the ability to expand its size in order to fend off predators. Oh, and some just happen to be the second most poisonous vertebrates in the world. So of course, us as human beings decided to turn it into a delectable dish. Popular in Japan, the fish can be deadly if not prepared properly. The tetrodotoxin found in the pufferfish flesh can cause numbness, dizziness, vomiting, rapid heart rate, decreased blood pressure, and even paralysis. This is basically the Russian roulette of food. While incidents are few, even seasoned chefs can mistakenly serve deadly pufferfish. Casu Marzu is a type of Italian cheese which goes through a rather lengthy and bizarre fermentation process. Once it's in a recognizable cheese form, it's left out in the open air for days or even weeks. The rotting dairy attracts flies which pass by, eat, and lay their eggs. These eggs then hatch into maggots who also consume the cheese, digest it, and, well, relieve themselves on it. This fermentation is what gave the Casu Marzu its common name, the rotting cheese. Although currently illegal to produce, some still eat it anyway, maggots and all. These little bugs can cause severe health issues such as bloody diarrhea and vomiting, so perhaps keep your cheese maggot-free. Some of the deadliest foods aren't so foreign. In fact, one of the greatest culinary killers is something quite close to our hearts, the common hot dog. While I could go on and on about the dangers of processed meats and preserving chemicals, the threat from this food is much more simple. When a hot dog is cut up and served to young children, the pieces can get lodged in their throats and cause asphyxiation. While this condition can be caused by, well, most foods in the world, hot dogs happen to be one of the leading killers of children who succumb to food-related choking. Sannakji is a raw dish served in Korean cuisine. It consists of nakshi, which is a species of octopus which has been cut into small pieces while still alive and served immediately to the customer. You may think the deadliness of this dish comes from some toxin in the animal's body, or perhaps the fact that it's served raw, but you'd be mistaken. Because this meal is served very fresh, the nerves in the octopus tentacles still fire, causing them to wriggle around. As you dig in, be warned, the suctions found along the arms are still functional, and able to grab onto parts of your mouth and even your esophagus. Several deaths have been reported as a result of eating this dish, all caused by internal strangulation from the animal's suction cups.